You're such an asshole.
The sun's going to go hyper giant. It's going to consume the earth. We're all going to die, and any record of us is going to be destroyed in the fiery flames of nuclear fusion. And it all doesn't matter at the end. So you might as well get sexy, get hot, have a lot of sex, eat a lot of ice cream, and enjoy it while you're here. Good night, everybody. Good night. How pessimistic is that? It's not pessimistic at all. That's very optimistic because that's what's going to happen. I'm like, hey, it counts now. Let's do the thing. I rode the bus to get to the airport yesterday, and I couldn't help but notice you get on that bus, and I won't. There's no other way to say it. You're in the lesser part of town. You're in the poorer part of town. Well, you're on the bus, so people, naturally going to select for poorer people. And then you're looking. I don't want to say. You could tell. You could look and see in the eye, like, okay, here's a young guy. He's hustling. He's moving. He's on his way to some. He had a uniform on. Another young man. I think I was, just so you know, none of these people were white. I think me and the old crazy white guy, the one talking to himself, that one, right? That one old guy. Yeah, he was the only other white guy on the bus. And I'm looking, aside from a couple young men that seem to have their shit together, there's a nice older lady. She was talking to me a little bit. Everybody else was just drifting through life, man. Just drifting through life. I'm like, fuck, this is it, huh? This is what the majority of people do with their lives. Wow. And I was very thankful I've had a pessimistic upbringing. Very thankful we got down to brass tacks. Very thankful we rejected the consumerism and materialism. Like, oh my God, you got to be cool amongst a bunch of fucking conformist dipshits, right? Here, go get a mortgage and a car loan. Otherwise, you're not cool like Becky and Sven. They're the same thing. They don't happen to be on a bus. They just happen to be on a financed fucking Lexus. They're all going the same place, nowhere. They're all pissing away their life and their time. Becky's on her social media. That guy happens to be high on pot. And we all got off of this one gal. The gal who looks pregnant but isn't. It's like 9 a.m. You wanted, like, dude, I got to follow to where you're going. So there's this, not even portly. It was a real rough looking black gal, little younger than me. And her outfit, her stomach was out. There was no shirt. She had a top, but the stomach was out. But it didn't look like she was fat, or it didn't look like she was pregnant. And the rest of her body wasn't. So it was like this real thing. I'm like, there's no way. No way you're pregnant. Where are you going? And she like walked out into the road, not on the crosswalk. And not like street smart, either, like looking for traffic. Just kind of walked out. And I'm just like, and then she took there was a transfer. And then she got off. What the hell was it? Was it Atham? Look it up. Maryland and Desert Inn, was it? And I just watched her go away. I'm like, what's that gal's life like? What's going on there? At least I'm aware. Want you all to be aware. This ends. This is it. This is all you got. Might as well make it count. Do you want to be these dipshits on the bus or I have to be real careful. The morons at Walmart where their life is eating Doritos? Pot's legal in Nevada, by the way, but you could smell it. And I'm like, this is what we're going to do, huh? Go through coming to the lesser neighborhoods. Maryland, by the way, for those of you, it's not the worst neighborhood. You got to get a little bit north. But you see like graffiti and yards that aren't picked up and cleaned up. You're like, is that really? That's going to be it, huh? That's our life. And just so you know, I'm equally critical of, you're going to, you're fine. You make $250,000 a year. You're a productive member of society. You're stuck in commute. You're stuck in a traffic. You're a slave to the banks and the McMansions and your wife's student loans. You gotta go in there and metaphorically suck a bunch of bosses' dicks and say the thing and like get rid of your soul. Lie. Ooh, cool, bro. You got a corner office. I get golden handcuffs. What, did you get to spend any time with the kids? No, you outsourced the fucking kids. That was a thing to have. It's all things, all stuff. They had pot, they had drugs, you got the title of having children. You're not gonna do anything with them, you just have them. So let's go to requests. This comes from our good friend Shark Toss, which you should subscribe to his channel. Greetings, Cappy. Hope all is well on your end. It's not. I got a bunch of bullshit to do. I'm not being author Schopenhauer. I'm not living up to the principles of author Schopenhauer. I'm busy dealing with other people's fucking problems right now. I so don't have my life to myself. I'm so fucking pissed off. Oh, I got 2 video requests, one in this mail second. The first one is simple. I've heard you mention multiple times that many people in your audience should read and listen to author Schopenhauer. I recently started him enjoying it thoroughly, currently on his books On the Fourfold Root of the Principle of Sufficient Reason, mouthful I know, and The World is Will and Idea. Now, what's funny is, so the guy's German, right? Imagine the German translation of that title. Holy fuck, it's a page itself. In short, I want a Clarey test on Mr. Schopenhauer. Thanks for your time and let me know. P.S. You got to use the new intros I gave you. I have a SoundCloud where I post my music if you want to give that link. Oh, well, I should have done that. Shit. Yeah, I haven't. I'm just doing catch up on consultations. I don't get around to doing a podcast. As you guys know, the podcast or late night Cappy is kind of not forthcoming. All right, so let's go to author Schopenhauer. I knew he came from wealth, so I kind of have a feeling he's not going to get a perfect score. Schopenhauer, 1788-1860, German philosopher known for his 1818 work, The World and Will and Representation, which characterizes the phenomenal world as the manifestation of a blind and irrational nominal will, building on the transcendental idealism of Immanuel Kant. Schopenhauer developed an aesthetic, metaphysical, and ethical system and rejected contemporaneous ideas of German idealism. There you go. I just like it because he calls it as it is. Why can't they just say he called it as it was? Schopenhauer was among the first thinkers in Western philosophy to share and affirm significant tenets of Indian philosophy, such as asceticism, denial of the self, and the notion of the world as appearance. The work has been described as an exemplary manifestation of philosophical pessimism. Though his work failed to garner substantial attention during his lifetime, he had a posthumous impact across various disciplines, including philosophy, literature, and science, as he realized most people were pricks. No, I'm sorry, I added that. Booty, 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 boo. Life. Paternal grandfather, André Schopenhauer, wealthy merchants in Danzig. Paternal grandmother, daughter. It's just going all the way to the grandfather. Just great-great-grandfather. Okay, the guy came from fucking wealth. Dutch merchant ambassador. Okay, got it. Early life. Like all of his relatives have links in Wikipedia, so they all had wealth. Protestant, Republican cosmopolitans, and Anglophiles. Dance, Prussia, the boo. Accompanies parents, tour, Holland, Britain, Heinrich presented author with a choice. He could either stay at home and begin preparations for university or travel with them to further his merchant education. Author chose to travel with him. He deeply regretted his choice later because the merchant training was very tedious. Spent 12 weeks touring Wimbledon, Heinrich Canal. Okay, so he does have real world working experience. Admittedly, he was working for his dad, but he was a merchant training and very tedious. Sharply criticized Anglican religiosity, despite the pressure from father, became very critical of educational results. Heinrich drowned in a canal. Oh, geez. Although it was possible that his death was accidental, his wife and son believed it was suicide, prone to anxiety and depression, becoming more pronounced later in life. Heinrich had also, because his dad became fussy, even his wife started to doubt his mental health. Author showed similar moodiness. I'm just wondering if, like, okay, and then he worked as a clerk. Government bonds. More than double his salary. Professor. He quit his merchant apprenticeship. Encouraged for money to get into his studies. Enjoyed life among social local nobility. Spent large amounts of money, which deeply concerned his frugal mother. Left the gymnasium after writing a satirical poem. Yeah, this guy came from wealth. 2 years a merchant in honor of his dead father. Scholar, prior education, moved away. Didn't part on good terms with mom. You're unbearable and burdensome and very hard to live with. All your good qualities are overshadowed by your conceit and made useless to the world simply because you cannot restrain your propensity to pick holes in other people. Huh. Can he be our Lord and Savior? Uh, some of author's negative opinions about women may have been rooted in his troubled relationship with his mother. Education keeps going on. He studied metaphysics, logic. He did not regret his medical and scientific studies. He claimed necessary during his game. Spent studying. Arrived. He just keeps going to college. Early work. Fearing the city would be attacked and be pressed into military service as Prussia began to war against France. He returned to Weimar but left after less than a month, disgusted by the fact that his mother was now living with her supposed lover. Civil servant, returned his no army. He spent his time in solitude. Okay. He settled for a while in Rudolstadt, hoping that no army would pass through the small town. He spent his time in solitude, hiking in the mountains and the Thuringian forest, writing his dissertation on the fourfold root of the principle of sufficient reason. Completed his dissertation, time French army, battle irritated soldiers. I'm just trying to see if the guy ever and he worked part-time as a bartender. Man, what a life. Just lots of money and gets to go study and hike in the woods. While waiting for his book to be published and conveniently escaping an affair with a maid that caused an unwanted pregnancy, Schopenhauer left Dresden, kind of a scumbag. Traveling. So who is the maid? Who's the descendant of author? Am I potentially one of his kin? Although none of my lineage came from Italy. It's Spain, Central Europe, fucking Scandinavia, yay. I can't be Scandinavian. I just can't. I can't be honorary Scandinavian. I like myself too much. I don't hate myself. Winters in Rome. Enjoyed art, architecture, ancient Rome, attended plays and operas. One of his affairs supposedly became serious. Man, this guy's just a philanderer too. An author. Banking house. Full stay, trouble, Dresden. He really sounds like a vagabond just trying to avoid the war of the worlds. After trying in academia, continued to travel extensively. Man, he would have been a motorcycle rider. Studying, socialized Italian, English nobles, blah, blah, blah. For successfully courting 17-year-old, wow, who's 22 years younger than himself. They met after she was 19, and numerous lovers and a son out of wedlock. They gave birth to an unnamed foreign diplomat. Schopenhauer was preparing to escape from Berlin in 1831 due to a cholera epidemic. He offered to take her with him on the condition she left her young son behind. Fucking balls! Fucking balls, man! Holy shit! She refused and he went alone. In his will, he left her a significant sum of money, but insisted it should not be spent on anyway on her second son. Good for him. Urge him to escape the city. He's just man, this is the only Wikipedia entry I want to read in more thoroughly. It just sounds like he's dodging war and maintaining his wealth and then living a life of luxury. Writing books. He remained healthy in his old age, which he attributed to regular walks no matter the weather and always getting enough sleep. He had great appetite, could read without glasses, but his hearing had been declining since his youth. He developed problem with rheumatism, reading corresponding till his death. Shortness of breath, ba, 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 ba. Okay, so normally I wouldn't have a lot of respect for the guy, but the guy was just honest to a fault. No, you can leave your son behind. We can keep fucking. All right, so he came from wealth. He had a little bit of real world working experience. And here we can't, there's grandfathering under the boomer clause, but we got to also look at intent. So the guy came from wealth. He did have real world working experience working under his dad as a merchant. So that qualifies, but that's in my quick synopsis of his entry. It just seems like he was just this playboy kind of international philanderer. I mean, like, come on, man. It's gonna score against to be like, you gotta give him credit in another regard. Like, that's what I would do. He made it count. He made it count. Like, oh, where's gonna have I get drafted? I'm gonna go off into the woods. So he came from wealth. His entire life looks like it's avoiding challenge or responsibility. So I gotta give him half a point of avoiding work. I'm gonna give him a full point for his academic study. There was no seriousness on his part. He just used university as a consumer good. So the guy's got 2.5 points. What did he do? Well, okay, he wrote a book. He was quote working. So he's got like 2.5 points, which isn't a good score. Would I want to have a beer with the man? You goddamn right I would. Should he have ran for office? Boy, the honesty of the guy. I almost compared to modern day hypocrites. Yes, he could have ran for office. I'd have a real challenging time whether I'd want to vote for the guy or not. I'd be like, damn, man. See, it's possible you could come from wealth and not be a dick. But this guy was even a dick, but he was an honest dick. I'm like, that qualifies you. You could get in his readings, but I didn't know about his background. He's just the guy. All he did was just I'm going to avoid war. I'm going to maintain my wealth. I'm going to fuck a lot of women. And if she had a kid, I'm like, yeah, you could come with, but you got to get rid of your kid. Balls, man. Fucking balls. You damn right I want a beer with him. Oh. And thanks, Shark Taz, because right now I'm going to go look for, I've just consumed his works and podcasts and analyzing his works, right? I didn't know like his history. I knew he came from wealth and I knew he walked in the woods. I knew he was like a cultural elite. That's all I really knew about. I didn't know about his adventures and all this. No, looks like the French are invading. I better get the fuck out of here. Oh, God, that's great. So there you go. All right. Let's go to super chats real quick. Z Guitar account, 10 generous bucks. New guy. Schopenhauer, Marx, Nietzsche, Hegel, Jung, etc. were the real prophets of human history. Rose foretold many of the problems we're experiencing today. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Z Guitar account, $10 again. Christopher Lasch also predicted the rise and prominence of narcissism in his book, Narcissism, American Life in the Age of Diminishing Expectations. The book came out in 1979. Well, he was there in the malaise of the 70s. I'm going to write that down. Christopher Lasch. Let me type that in my to-do list. Pull up my to-do list. Christopher, hang on. I got to go back. Lasch. Narcissism. Okay. Thank you, Z. I appreciate it. Always looking for new stuff. Yeah, I'm going to go read through or listen to the history of Arthur Schopenhauer's life. That just because you got his book, but goddamn, he was practicing it in his life too. Holy shit. All right, that's it. Link to whatever the hell I linked below. I'll see you guys later. Toodles.